Over 6 centuries ago, Vietnam endured one of the harshest invasions in its history. In 1406, the Ming dynasty of China marched nearly 800,000 troops across the border under the pretext of destroying the Ho dynasty. Although the Ho rulers fought back, their political failures and lack of unity led to quick defeat. By 1407, Dai Viet was conquered. The Ming occupation was ruthless. Determined to erase Vietnamese identity, they burned books, destroyed steles, and wiped out historical records. Cultural practices were banned, heavy taxes were enforced, and people were forced to hand over precious resources. Even daily traditions, like making fish sauce, were forbidden. These policies caused immense suffering and anger among the population. Uprisings erupted across the country, often led by members of the former Tran dynasty. But lacking strategy and strong leadership, they were swiftly crushed. Amid this darkness, a new leader emerged, Lê Lợi. Born in 1385 in Lam Son, Thanh Hoa, Lê Lợi came from a respected family. He was described as intelligent, sharp-eyed, with a commanding presence. More importantly, he was compassionate and generous, winning the trust of people around him. Unlike others who rose too early, Lê Lợi waited patiently, quietly gathering allies and resources. In 1416, on a mountain in Lam Son, he and 18 loyal companions swore a solemn oath, the Lung Nai Oath, vowing to fight until Vietnam was free. 2 years later, in 1418, he raised the banner of revolt, declaring himself Ben Din Vong, the pacifying king. Thus began the Lam Son Uprising. The early years were filled with hardship. With only 2,000 soldiers against tens of thousands of Ming troops, the rebels suffered defeat after defeat. They often fled into forests and mountains, surviving on roots, bamboo shoots, and even sacrificing their own elephants and horses to feed the hungry. Many times, the Ming nearly crushed them completely. Yet through perseverance and clever strategies, Lê Lợi always managed to escape and rebuild. The turning point came in 1424. Following the advice of strategist Nguyen Chich, the Lam Son forces moved south to Nha An, where they won crucial battles, captured fortresses, and gained new supporters. Victories boosted morale, and the uprising spread widely. Talented generals like Nguyen Tre, Din Lo, and Nguyen Shi joined, transforming the rebellion into a true national movement. By 1426, the Lam Son army had grown strong enough to march north toward the Red River Delta, the heart of Vietnamese civilization. That autumn, at Tat Dong, Chuc Dong, 50,000 Lam Son soldiers ambushed and annihilated 70,000 Ming troops. It was a stunning victory that shook the occupiers' confidence. But the decisive blow came in 1427. The Ming sent massive reinforcements to crush the rebellion once and for all. At the Battle of Chi Lang, Suong Zhang, Lê Lợi and his generals used brilliant tactics, luring Ming commander Lu Tang into an ambush. He was killed, and the Ming armies were destroyed. Over 100,000 enemy soldiers were killed or captured. With their reinforcements gone and supplies cut off, Ming generals had no choice. In late 1427, they sued for peace. Lê Lợi, showing wisdom, agreed to let them retreat rather than risk endless bloodshed. Tens of thousands of Ming troops withdrew from Dai Viet, ending 21 years of foreign domination. In April 1428, Lê Lợi entered the capital and was crowned Emperor Lê Tai Tu. He restored the nation's independence under the name Dai Viet and established the Lê dynasty, marking the beginning of a strong, centralized monarchy. The Lam Son Uprising stands as one of Vietnam's greatest struggles for freedom. From a desperate force of 2,000 starving rebels, Lê Lợi built an army of 350,000. Through resilience, unity, and brilliant leadership, they defeated one of the mightiest empires of the age. As Nguyen Tre proclaimed in the immortal Ben No Dai Tsao, the Vietnamese people regained their sovereignty, and the Ming invaders were driven out forever. This was not only a military triumph but also a victory of spirit, proof that even in the darkest times, determination and unity can achieve independence. The legacy of Lê Lợi and the Lam Son Uprising continues to inspire generations, reminding us that freedom is worth every sacrifice. But the Lam Son Uprising was not just the story of one man. It was a collective struggle, a story of ordinary villagers, scholars, and warriors who risked everything for independence. The soldiers of Lam Son were not professional armies. Many were farmers who left their fields, hunters from the forests, or fishermen from the rivers. They fought barefoot, often with simple weapons, and endured hunger, disease, and harsh weather. Some went days without food, surviving only on wild plants. And yet, their loyalty to Lê Lợi never wavered. They believed that fighting under his banner meant fighting for their homeland, their families, and their dignity. Among his companions, one figure stands out: Nguyễn Trãi. A brilliant scholar and strategist, Nguyễn Trãi used both the pen and the sword to serve the cause. He crafted proclamations to rally the people, wrote letters to demoralize the Ming generals, and devised psychological strategies to weaken the enemy. His masterpiece, Ben No Dai Cao, is not just a declaration of victory, it is considered Vietnam's second declaration of independence. In it, he affirmed that Dai Viet was a land with its own culture, its own traditions, and its own rightful sovereignty. The uprising also produced stories of profound sacrifice. Generals like Lê Lợi gave their lives to save Lê Lợi and the movement. In one desperate moment, when the rebels were cornered and defeat seemed certain, Lê Lợi disguised himself as Lê Lợi and charged into the enemy lines, allowing his comrades to escape. He was captured and executed, but his bravery became a symbol of ultimate loyalty. To this day, Vietnamese people remember him every year with the saying, on the 21st of August, remember Lê Lợi before Lê Lợi. The victory of Lam Son was more than a military triumph, it was a cultural and moral renewal. After decades of destruction under the Ming, Dai Viet not only regained independence but also revived its identity. Schools reopened, literature flourished, and Confucian ideals of good governance were restored. The Lê dynasty that followed became one of the most stable and prosperous in Vietnamese history. The lesson of Lam Son is timeless: even against overwhelming odds, a united people with a just cause can prevail. The uprising reminds us that freedom is never simply given, it must be won, preserved, and cherished.